Good morning. It is Sunday, August 4th and 6:30. I wanted to wait until the sun came up to film. I got up at 5 this morning. I have been sipping my coffee, journaling. I have some thoughts I want to share. This channel is about writing, philosophy, and process, and I like to show on a real day-to-day basis what it's like to navigate through all that. I'm trying to see if this angle is gonna work because I want to drink my coffee and chat. Okay, this is fine for now. I have my phone propped up on a pillow and I'm sitting on the beanbag. Obviously I'm whispering because my husband is still asleep. It is Sunday. It is his sleep in and relax day. But back to writing. I've thought about it and I've realized that I'm the kind of writer who actually has to read and reflect more than write. And I don't think I've heard anything like that, especially on YouTube. Maybe the algorithm hasn't caught up yet, but you know, I've seen so many writers with like high and heavy output, and I tried to emulate that, and it just doesn't work for me. At the beginning of this challenge, in my first iteration, I put so much emphasis on the volume of my words and getting the words to paper, also with the notion that, oh, I'll go and edit it later. And while that is an acceptable approach and kind of the standard approach to writing so far as I've seen, I don't think that's the only way, and I don't think that's really actually the common way. I think it is social media that has preferred that kind of model to then push out more of that kind of content toward creatives and writers. And while I do think there is immense value, practical value to writing every day, I don't think every single great writer has that kind of high output volume. I think it is more that we read and we think more than the writing itself. Like, the writing has to be done, but some of us probably read more than we write, and some of us probably have to read more than we write. In my first iteration of this challenge, basically I put so much emphasis on the writing aspect that I could not find balance with the reading aspect, and I feel that that actually is what derailed me in terms of staying in touch and in tune with my writing itself, like the craft of it. I would get up early in the morning and I would read a little bit to prime my mind, but subconsciously it was rushed because I was trying to get to the core activity of the writing. And though I sat intentionally for those reading sessions, they were always curtailed with a cue in my mind being like, okay, you have to get to the writing now, you have to get to the 1,000 words today, you need to get that done. So that thinking overrode my ability to really be with my reading, and I didn't realize that consciously. So then, after having given my maximal effort toward the writing component, I was just obliterated for the rest of the day. Like, it was so hard for me to even think about reading or even want to really get into it. And then that compounded into me reading less, and then in reading less, I actually really took away from what actually is my core activity, which is the reading aspect. So I've switched my thinking now, and I'm beginning to venture into a new philosophy that actually reading is my core activity and I have to make ample space for that and to have really quality sessions of reading, not just for entertainment, but really to be with my reading in a meditative manner. And then I also need to make space for contemplation, and contemplation doesn't have to be necessarily in an active manner where I'm sitting and I'm thinking about what I want to do, but it's more of like, hey, let me let the thoughts marinate and slow cook themselves into, stew. I like stew. Stew tastes good, it tastes rich and hearty, and it is complex. So that's something I realized. Yesterday, my husband and I had a late night dinner. We tend to eat dinner late, but we had a conversation and he kind of highlighted for me, like part of where you struggle with writing probably comes from the fact that there's no real instant gratification in writing. I think the best there is for instant gratification in writing is like when you hit that sentence and you're like, yes, but beyond that, there really isn't much that we see up front. Writing is a very patient labor, and it's only later on down the road that we see any fruit from it. So I was thinking about that, and psychologically, like, while there is this whole notion that like delayed gratification is like the epitome of maturity and development and whatnot, I do think that some measure of instant gratification in a healthy way is important, because that's the fun factor. That's what adds to this childlike joy and excitement for us as writers to continue in this. And that childlike joy stimulates imagination and it perpetuates a positive cycle of creativity. So I've been thinking about how to integrate and create aspects of instant gratification in my writing process. I don't have any answers figured out yet, but that's what I'm also thinking about. That's what I've been thinking about this morning. I'm gonna end this video here. I'm gonna get my writing done, but 300 words aren't really exciting to film about, as 1,000 words are. So I'm gonna get that done, but I hope this video gives you something to think about and helps you along your writing journey. We are in this together. Writers unite, and let's not make writing a lonely journey.